symbols. My name is Shelley. I'm a writer, an astrologer, and a card reader, and I'd like to welcome you to my channel. Happy Saturday. It is the weekly energy card reading. What that is you, the viewer, get to choose from one of 3 tarot or oracle decks, and we'll go through and do a quick spread to see what the energies will be like for the next 7 days. It does not need to be the week of September 24th through, I think, the beginning of October in order for the messages to resonate. If you come across this video at any time, there might be little nuggets of information contained. Also, if you feel like a message does not resonate, we have a saying in card reading. We say, take what resonates, leave the rest. So if it is not jiving, you do not need to take it. Just leave it by the wayside. And of course, you can choose more than one deck. You can choose more than one pile. You can scroll through and stop and see if there's a message there. Card reading is very open-ended. It's very interpretable. So again, this is just for entertainment purposes only, and there to hopefully help and give some insight. And we'll go ahead and get started. As always, we have 3 decks here. I try to keep my decks in rotation. The first deck is the Anarchy Tarot. The second deck is the Witch's Tarot by Dugan. Third deck is the Starseeker Tarot by the Van Mystic. And I'm sorry, I did that totally out of order. The first deck has a beautiful smoky quartz. The second deck has a beautiful citrine. Third deck has the very first stone that I ever bought. It was in a little shop here in the state that I live, and that is a amethyst double point. Today I was really drawn to bring out my Botanical Inspirations cards, which are a really beautiful flower deck. And it's funny, this is a carnelian that's carved in the shape of a rose. And I actually got this when I was on a trip to Canada, like the only time I had ever been to Canada. And I always put that with that deck of cards. So we'll be clarifying with flower cards today. But I'll go ahead and give you a minute to decide. Please choose from your intuition. If you need more time, please pause the video, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, we're back. I just realized that I think by the end of the week we are going into October, which is fantastic. I'm actually coming up on a vacation. I'm so stupid excited because I need a break, and it'll be nice to relax, and it's my birthday, and so I'm all excited. So here, let me do this. I'm gonna go ahead and put my glass pumpkin here just to be festive because we're coming up on October. So can you see this guy? Yes, there you go. Glass pumpkin. All right, so deck number 1. Let's go ahead and move the other decks up. Oh gosh, per the norm, I am tired. It's been a long week, blah, 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 same old spiel. But as always, I always get energized when I do your reads. So please know, I am never, as I drop all these cards on the floor. Very good, yes. I never half butt your read. I full butt your read. No, I'm kidding. I always put my full energy into your read, and I get energized by your energies. All right, so deck number 1, what is your energy for the week, the next 7 days? What's our energy? Wow, oh my God. Okay, middle of the week, please. Wow, I got sequential cards, and again, these are usually very well shuffled. This card tried to come out, so you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this card because this one was trying to pop out initially. Okay, we'll do it that way. End of the week, please. Okay, please clarify the 10 of Swords. Okay, this is interesting, guys. I am kind of getting a story here. So there are no bad cards in tarot. So even though we're seeing some kind of heavy cards by the end of the week. All right, this is interesting. Beginning of the week, this is really great, guys. You have the Queen of Rods, which is the Queen of Wands. And underneath it, you have the Eight of Pentacles and the Two of Cups. Now, the first impact that I got from this is if you are a woman watching this, and assign the genders as they resonate. However, you know, there's no male, female, there's just energy in card reading. But in the beginning of the week, if you're a woman watching this, I think you're putting a lot of energy into your relationship. It's almost like you're working. You see how this person is kind of perfecting their craft. And this is an apprentice, and you have kind of a someone who is like an artisan teaching an apprentice their craft. And then you have the Two of Cups. So what I'm kind of seeing here is that I do see you kind of... This is interesting. I get the strong sense that you're a very independent person. Like the Queen of Wands, she knows her own mind. She has her own style. She's really kind of an it woman, you know. She's very sunny. You see all these sunflowers. The other thing I get is that she's very self-confident, right? She's very self-confident. And actually in the Two of Cups, it looks like the same woman, right? So, you know, whenever you're in love or whenever you're in a partnership, sometimes you can always feel, it makes you feel a little vulnerable, right? You want to please your partner. You want to be, no matter how self-confident you are, or no matter how independent of spirit you are, you want to please the person that you're with. So here, I kind of get in the beginning of the week, you might be trying to please someone. And I do get the sense that you're kind of in that zoom, that really, like, you know how when you're in the beginning of a relationship and the other person can do no wrong? Here, I just feel like you're working really hard to please this person. I also get the sense that you might be planning something. Maybe you're planning like a date night, or over the weekend, maybe you're going to dinner, or maybe you've got some kind of event that you're celebrating. And I get the sense, like, again, you're taking charge of it. It's almost like you want everything to be perfect. That's what I'm kind of getting. You want everything to be perfect. Maybe you're making plans for something. It could be a dinner. It could be some kind of celebration. But I do get the sense, like, you want everything to be really romantic and kind of, you know, classy. That's the other thing I get. You want it to be really special. The other thing is that I think that you are bearing in mind what the other person wants. Like, you really want to please this person. So again, you know, the Queen of Wands, she's a very independent person. She normally doesn't care what other people think. But I think here it is almost like you're kind of going the extra mile to make sure you're putting a lot of effort. And the other thing I'm getting is a lot of creative energy. You're putting a lot of creative energy into making something really perfect. And that could either be working on a connection with someone. Doesn't necessarily have to be a date or an event, but I think you're working, like, you're putting like this, you see how bright the sun is behind her. It's like you're putting like this really strong pulse of solar energy into your relationship. If you're a man watching this, then there's a woman in your life who's doing that. It's almost like she's putting all this extra effort into the details of things. She's also being she is kind of being kind of commanding in it. This can be the woman who is like, you know, hey honey, our anniversary's coming up. Let's go out to dinner. Let's go here. Let's dress up, you know. But she wants. It's almost like she's doing it because she's so in love and she wants to please you. And I get the same thing in reverse. It's just, you know, if this is not formal plans, then I just think that you're putting a lot of effort into pleasing your person. Maybe you're taking time out to do what they want to do. And it's almost like, I'm not going to say on your best behavior, because the Queen of Wands is really not like that. She doesn't bow to anyone. You know, again, she's very self-confident. The other thing is, not to get all innuendo with it, but with her being the Queen of Wands, she kind of controls men in that way. Like if there's nothing that she doesn't do anything that she doesn't want to do, right? The other thing is she can kind of control men with her allure. She can do that. She's got that kind of, and it's like this sunny kind of beautiful solar energy. And you see so much yellow in all these cards, like it's just, the other thing is with the golden coins. One other way I can read that too is if you're a man watching this, maybe you're putting in extra effort to please her because I'm hearing that song, She's So High Above Me, like you just think this woman's perfect and she's golden, and she is kind of an it girl, so maybe you are trying to make everything perfect because you want to please her. Now, by the middle of the week, we've got the Two of Pentacles, so we've got another Pentacles card. And here we've got the Six of Cups going into the Seven of Cups. And these are two sequential energies here. And it's Pentacles and Cups, guys. It's funny. The first beginning of the week is all money and emotions. And then by the end of the week, we get into thoughts or intellect and money. But this is, by the end of the week, it's a lot more practical. It's more like, okay, what's the right thing to do mind-wise? But by the middle of the week, the Six of Cups is really about, it is about daydreaming. Both of these cards are really about daydreaming. And it's interesting, you kind of have two counterparts here. You got the Six of Cups, you got the woman kind of like Juliet on the balcony daydreaming and wishing on a star, and then you've got the guy kind of not knowing. Now, one thing I will kind of caution here, guys, and I'm not trying to be strange, but by the end of the week we do have a few kind of swords cards that need to be bear in mind. But you might be really kind of head over heels for someone. Like really, you see how this is kind of the juggler, like, you're kind of putting on a show. Just to put a little bit of caution out there, I think you're a very dynamic woman, and when you feel from your heart center, it's very strong. When you love someone or when you care about someone, it feels like a really deep connection. But what I'm seeing here is I'm seeing one woman who's kind of sniffing a flower and kind of wishing on a star, and it looks like she's wishing for one person. But here you have a guy who you see all these spilling cups. I think you might be dealing with someone who has multiple options, and you're trying to please this person. The other way I can read it is if you're a guy watching this, you might have this really dynamic woman, but you might be kind of juggling or playing to the crowd a little bit. The other thing I do get is that I do get a little bit, with the way that this card is outlined here, you might have someone who, you might be talking to someone who likes to indulge and drink a little bit. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, what I am almost getting here is that this person almost gets a little lost in it, right? They get a little lost in it. Maybe you're giving them a lot more. I really just kind of get the sense like you're making them your priority, and they might not be doing the same in return. But from the outside, again, this is someone who's juggling with dexterity, like they're keeping both pentacles in the air, right? So one other way I can read it, just to throw it out there, and this is not going to be for everyone, but you might be dealing with someone who has another relationship. You might know about that other relationship, but this person is kind of, I do feel like this person is kind of confused. They're a little lost. They're keeping both options open, but I do think that by the middle of the week, it's almost like you're thinking very lovingly of this person. You know, you're reminiscing. You're thinking about all those good times, right? And it looks like the same woman, you know. You're very, I think you're a very heart-centered person. But I do think, you know, and again, if you're a man watching this, then you're just kind of, you feel like you're juggling. The other thing I kind of get is with the Two of Pentacles, this might be more than one financial obligation. The other thing is that with this crowd, again, you know, the Two of Pentacles always talks about playing to the crowd, but here I think you also have to maintain a particular persona. And I know that sounds funny, but that's a real thing. You know, like sometimes we have to put on a certain mask for our family. Sometimes we have to put on a certain role for the person you're dating. And it does make you feel a little bit lost. The other thing is the Seven of Cups is that sometimes people do turn to drink when they feel, people turn to drink when they want to change their emotions. They want to, um, sometimes when you have too many options in front of you, it's almost like you want to try to figure out what you really want, what the right decision is. But I do get the sense like you have, you are kind of, juggling two kind of options, but one of them is definitely, there's this sense of kind of nostalgia, like you're remembering only the good, right? The other thing is that I think that you might, if this is your energy, it's possible that maybe you are juggling. By the middle of the week, you might have two financial responsibilities, either that or, I just get the sense like it's almost like by it's almost like you don't want to see the truth of this situation. You want to stay in the good memories of it, right? You don't want to make a decision. You just want to keep juggling. You want to keep all the balls in the air, so to speak, right? But I do kind of get this sense of playing to a crowd. That's the other thing, is playing to a crowd. Just one other way I can read it, and I'm sorry to read it this way, guys, but just this is how the images kind of line up for me, is that maybe to the outside, and this happens sometimes in marriages or commitments, you know, you might be with someone and you might not be 100% happy, but your family likes them or your friends think that you're a great match, so all of a sudden you're staying together to keep up this kind of facade. But one other thing is that all three of these cards talk about money. Um, so one other way that I can kind of see this too is that the person that you're dealing with, you have really strong emotions for, but they might have one face that they show you, and then there's another face, and not to call your person two-faced, I'm sorry, I don't mean to say it that way, but this person might have different personas that they show because they have to. And again, that's a real thing. You know, sometimes we have, social obligations, the face that we show at work, the face that we show our mother, the face that we show our family, the face that you show your boyfriend, girlfriend, or significant other. Those can all be different personalities. But the other thing I kind of get is that I do think that maybe someone that you're dealing with might have these different roles, and you really want to believe, the sweet times that you've had together. You want to believe that face. One other way I can kind of read it is that maybe this person's true personality might come out when they imbibe a little bit, meaning that when they've had a beer or when they've had a drink, all of a sudden they're really showing this different side to their personality, and it might very well be their real side. And again, they're kind of juggling it. They're kind of juggling it. But by the middle of the week, you really do. You want to stay with the good side, and again, that side that. The other thing I get is just this person really makes you feel happy, right? They make you feel light and sunny. Now, by the end of the week, I don't want you to be disconcerted. Don't be upset about this. We do have two kind of the heavy hitter cards here with the swords. We've got the Ten of Swords, and we got the Three of Swords. And then we've got more cups. We've got the Nine of Cups, and we've got the Ace of Pentacles. Now, one other way I can throw it out here, guys, is that you might be dating someone who's really got some kind of family ties, because I'm seeing a lot of like family members here. Maybe this person kind of feels like, again, there's some kind of anchor with their family. Maybe there's some kind of security or financial stability that they're offering. One other way I can read it is that maybe this person was kind of really, I do kind of sense that all this week's energy is relationship related. But I think you felt this real connection to someone. To be 100% honest, guys, this might be a marriage. This person might be married or in another commitment, or their family might be kind of pushing them towards another connection. But you feel a connection with this person, and you really want them to be there for you. But what I see here is I see somebody kind of, the Three of Swords here, you see someone walking away from a home and kind of offering a rose, but this person has a bloody heart. Both of these cards talk about being stabbed. And I don't want you to be scared. I don't think anything bad is going to happen at the end of your week. One way that I can kind of read this is that maybe there's just some kind of fallout with family. The other thing I get is that maybe you feel kind of betrayed by something a family member has done. The other thing that I kind of see here is I kind of see, this looks like the same girl dancing in the Nine of Cups and the Ace of Pentacles. And the Nine of Cups is really kind of a smug card. It's kind of like, well, I got the best deal, right? So someone might be letting you know that they chose something else, and they might have done it for kind of materialistic reasons, for money reasons, because the other choice would have given them some kind of financial security or incentive, which feels really backstabbing. The other thing that I kind of get from this, and just in a more everyday sense, is that maybe you get word that, your family is, maybe you've been asking for help from your family, and all of a sudden they give the money to someone else, and it feels like a betrayal. The other thing I get is that I feel like you're kind of going to get this news as some kind of like someone's going to come up and tell you. But let's get one more card, because this is a little murky. So let's just see. Okay, one more card. What's this about? What's this about? Five of Rods. Judgment. Yes. Okay. Oh gosh, guys. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. You've got some competition. You see how this is like a wrestling match? You've got some competition. And someone had to make a judgment call. Someone had to make a choice. And I think that's your person. But the other thing that I get from this is that if this person ends up hurting you, or if this person kind of led you on or is doing anything that, this person will get called out for it. The other thing I kind of get is that this person probably is already called out for it. It's just going to feel stinging, right? It's going to feel like a little bit of a stab. That's all. It's going to feel like a stab. But these are minor cards. Judgment is a major. The other thing is I feel like you're going to get over it really quickly. I don't think that this is something that you're blind to. I think you sensed. I think you kind of sensed that this person was juggling, or I think you might have had the rose-colored glasses on, but the other thing I get is that you're coming out of the dark. At the same time that all this is going on, you're going to see the light. You're going to see the light. The other thing is that this might be a little bit of competition, and it doesn't even have to be competition with someone else. For a very few of you, I feel like someone might turn to another romantic option because they have more money than you do. And honestly, shame on them, because if that's the reason that you pick someone after, the Two of Cups, and, again, we have got 2-2, which is a choice. And then you've got 3 of Swords. But it is a little bit. The other thing I want you to know is that this was a stiff competition. That's the reason why this person was kind of keeping you in limbo or keeping you hanging. But this person, I also get the sense this person is going to get judgment for this. They're going to get called out for their crappy behavior. But it is just going to kind of, by the end of the week, it's going to feel like a sting. The other thing is that it's going to feel like competition. And again, you're the freaking Queen of Wands. Rolling up your sleeve and arm wrestling someone is not your style. You're above such things. You're above such things. And here you see, the other thing I kind of get is that it's almost going to feel kind of liberating cutting this person loose. Like, again, standing up and kind of pulling the knives out and walking away is going to feel really, really cathartic. I think you will also kind of make this person realize, hey, the other person, this other chick, she can have you. She can have you. Now, just one other way I can kind of read it, if this is not romantic related by the end of the week, it could be something family related. There might be a little bit of, there might be a little bit of competition with family, and not in an unhealthy way, because actually these do look kind of like a family dynamic. But it could be that, maybe you needed help financially and somebody else in your family got the money and not you. So it feels like an arm wrestle, the other thing I kind of get is that if you were talking to someone and their family wasn't, if there was a difference in beliefs or something like that, it's almost like how do you wrestle with that? How do you go up against someone who's, against you for whatever reason, But your card, you got Crocus, which says cheerfulness. It is spring again. The earth is like a child that knows poems by heart. And you know what this makes me think of is, you see how this person is coming out of the cave and she looks like an old woman, then she gets younger and younger and younger. And then it looks like spring. So I think this is, in its way, is just saying, take heart. Take heart. I don't think that this is going to be I don't think this is going to cut you down, but I do think it's just going to sting. It's going to sting. But just know that you don't have to, the other thing I get is you don't have to stoop to any petty competition. I really think that you'll be bigger than that. The other thing I get is if someone's doing something that's a little underhanded, you're going to handle that with a lot of grace. And it's funny, walking away from someone who's acting like that is really the best justice, the best judgment you can have. Because that person losing you, and actually you kind of see that, this person, look at the expression on dude's face, and the other thing is, you might, and again, you see, you might feel blue for a few minutes, but you'll be okay. You'll be okay. You're gonna walk back into the sunshine very quickly, and I think you'll be back to your happy self again very quickly. I just think, I'm hearing it wounds, it doesn't maim. So it's wounding, but you'll be back on your feet. So I wouldn't worry too much about. I don't think it's gonna be bad. But all right, so deck number 2. Let's go ahead and see what's your energy for the week. Beginning of the week, please. Okay, middle of the week. Okay, end of the week, please. Okay, we're going to go ahead and take this as a crossing energy. End of the week, please. Oh my gosh, got Ten of Swords in the end. Please clarify the Ten of Swords. Okay. Oh my goodness. Wow. Wow. Okay, let's go ahead and get your oracle card. You got pink rose and that flipped. Grace and sweetness. Oh, love that. All right, so in the beginning of the week, we got the Three of Pentacles. So the Three of Pentacles here, it's, excuse me, I'm going to cough. It's just allergies. Let me get a sip of tea. Oh, thank you. But, so beginning of the week, we got the Three of Pentacles. I think you're going to be putting in a lot of, I get the sense like you're going to be putting in a lot of extra hours. And I get the sense like, I do get the sense of journaling or documenting. I feel like in the beginning of the week, and it could be over the weekend, something over the weekend has you kind of gathering information, maybe documenting information. It's funny, I love to scrapbook, and the other thing I kind of get is that with the Three of Pentacles, it really does talk about collaboration and kind of like a working sense. So I know this sounds kind of funny, guys. Sorry for the background noise. I know this sounds kind of funny, but I get the sense like you're almost, you might be printing articles, or you might be doing some kind of documentation. Maybe if you go to school, you're doing some kind of group project where you're collaborating with other people. I do get the sense like you're doing this in almost like a socially distant kind of way. If you're watching this at the time it posts, you know, we're still doing our due diligence, or we should be doing our due diligence to, you know, kind of not go out in crowds and not do things, you know, in a real public sense. But here I kind of get the sense like you're doing some kind of work based on information that was gathered by others. And I do see you kind of working late into the night to kind of create a collection or a group of all of this information. So this is really interesting, guys. I do think the other thing I get is I'm really drawn to this potion in the front here that, and it is, you know, by the end of the week, we are coming up on the beginning of October. Something's kind of brewing. The other thing I'm getting is that you might be looking for looking for the right formulation, looking for the right mixture. But I do see that the other thing I kind of get is that maybe over the weekend or something, by the beginning of the week, something's really going to have your attention. You know how sometimes when you start writing something, or I know when I start journaling, you know, I'll look at the clock and be like, oh my gosh, you know, 4 hours has passed, and it feels like 5 minutes. That's what I'm kind of getting from this. But I do also get the sense like I feel like you're somehow gathering information, or journaling, or compiling. That's the word I'm looking for. Compiling something. Now, by the middle of the week, this is really interesting, guys. You got the Ace of Wands with the butterfly, and I'm really drawn to the way that the sun is rising. And just like here, it's like you're working late into the night, and then all of a sudden there's a break of a new dawn, you know? You know how sometimes when you're studying something or researching something, and then you really come across a lot of good information, then the next day it just feels like a new dawn. It's, you know what I'm hearing? Oh my gosh, is it Nina Simone? It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new, I will post the video below. I will post the link. But oh my gosh, it's like I'm hearing new dawn, new day. It's a new start. And underneath it, these two cards flipped out. You have the King of Cups, and you have the Empress. You have someone, I feel like you have leaders around you. You might be acting alone, but by the middle of the week, there's some kind of start to something. There's some kind of beginning to something that feels like like a beginning, like a fresh new start, like a new dawn, a new beginning. And you're going to have the support of a King of Cups who is like, this is a very empathetic man, someone who's very emotionally in tune. He is not soft. That's the one thing. If you get a chance to check out the How to Tarot for the King of Cups, that's a good way to understand the personality of the King of Cups. He's not a softie. He's emotionally mature, and he understands. And what I'm getting from this is he understands that where everyone is coming from, like everyone's beliefs. There was a great part in that video where we talked about how he's great at disarming people because he understands and respects people's belief systems, but then he also understands his own emotions. But then next to him is the Empress. She's the embodiment of all four queens. She's the queen of queens. She's the Empress, right? And she's a very nurturing woman. So this could be a mother and another male figure that's there to help you create this new start. One other thing that I'm kind of getting is, even though this is emotions and Empress, this could be, if this was work related, you might have someone who's really kind of empathizing with your cause and understanding where you're coming from. The other thing I get is that you see all these really wild waves at his feet. And look, oh, this is so cool. Look at his robes. His robes even look like the crest of a wave. But, and then you see a peaceful stream behind the Empress. But I get the sense like someone is coming to your aid or someone's supporting you. Yeah, the Page of Pentacles came out before. The other thing I kind of get is that someone might be coming forth with some little physical piece of information. I don't think it's an email. I don't think that this is anything like paper related. One other way that I can read this is that maybe someone's giving you like some kind of small financial gift to try to help you. I'm not really getting parents from this, guys. I am Seven of Wands. I'm getting someone's helping to protect you. Because the Empress is very nurturing. The King of Cups is very emotionally nurturing. He's emotionally diplomatic. He understands people's beliefs. But he's a leader. And he's self-contained. Like, he understands, like, he's self-contained. I feel like these two people, an Empress who, this could be a grandmother, or it could be someone who's an older, mature woman who feels like a nurturing woman, almost like an earth mother. That's the other thing, is that she's an earth mother, which can be a female boss. But she's nurturing in the way that she deals with people. Like, she's not cold. She encourages people to grow. And the other thing is, she's got a shield here. She protects people. I feel like you're starting some kind of new venture. I feel like it's a fledgling thing. It's like you have just a little cornerstone of something physical to start this with, and it's almost like this is a David and Goliath kind of card. It's almost like you have one little cornerstone to start with, but it is a start. It's like a new beginning. And I feel like you have an Empress and a King of Cups that's really, first off, trying to help you in small ways, like they're giving you small little incentives, or they're giving you some way for you to protect yourself, or for you to fight your cause. Either that, or these people are protecting you. Like, they're coming to your aid because again, the page is about like small, especially when it's the Page of Pentacles, it's very slow moving. It's not fast. And I'm really drawn to this little lamb. Like, there's something very innocent and there's something altruistic in what you're doing, and people want to protect you. But the way that you're going, the way that you have to go about it is slow and steady. So, but I feel like you're starting forth, but you will have someone protecting you. The other thing is I see a lot of nature here. I see so much nature here. I feel like both these people are very rooted, very grounded. Even the King of Cups, he's like King Triton. Like, he really is. He controls the tides, right? But there's something very nurturing about the way, and there's something very organic about the way that you're being protected. It's almost like you're protected. You're going about something in a very organic way, and I know that makes no sense. It's almost like you're doing something for natural reasons. And the other thing that I get is that something about these two people, they understand where you're coming from, like they understand your cause. The other thing I get is with the Ace of Wands, it's almost like kind of staking your claim. It's like putting down, if you've ever seen the movie Far and Away, it was a really it's an older movie now, that talked about Irish settlers in the West, and how they came here and they each had a flag, and it's like they staked their claim, like, this is my land, this is my parcel, this is my square, this is mine. And it's like you're staking your claim, but you're defending it. You don't have all the you don't have all the weaponry in the world. You just have it's almost like you have that one staff. This is my claim. This is my space. This is mine. This is my one pentacle. This is mine. And you have other people who are defending you, or at least either advising you or trying to protect you, because you see how each of these people have their own parcel of land. I think these people have been where you've been in the past, and they want to somehow shield you or advise you with what you're doing. Now, this is really freaking interesting, guys. By the end of the week, please do not be afraid, but you have 2 10s. You have like the happiest 10, anchoring the most kind of sorrowful one. You have the 10 of Swords, then you have the High Priestess, then you have the 10 of Cups, and next to it you have Strength. You have 3 major arcanas, and you have 2 10s, and you have an Ace. Something is ending in order for something else to begin. And what's really interesting here, guys, is first off, I just want you to look at how the eyes of the cat in the High Priestess are glowing. It's like a black cat, and black cats are lucky. They get a bad rap of being bad luck. They're not bad luck. And actually, the Queen of Wands has a cat at her feet normally. I'm sorry, focus, please. You're gonna focus for me here. It's not gonna focus, but the cat has really glowing eyes. And then in the 10 of Swords, which is always a little bit of a gory scene, you see the owl with glowing eyes. And honestly, the High Priestess is very wise, like an owl, right? But the High Priestess, she is the guardian of the veil. She knows the purpose of the 3D, what's going on in our corporeal world, and then she also knows what's going on in the 5D. And what she does is that smirk on her face, or not even a smirk, that knowledge, it almost, you know what? I almost feel like it's the High Priestess in owl form watching over you. There's a purpose. You might go through something that feels like a stab in the back, might feel like an ending. And you notice how there's no blood here, right? But she understands what looks like on the outside. And again, I think the High Priestess is this owl here. She is the owl. And you see, almost like she can metamorphosize into any animal. Because the root of it is the 10 of Cups. And you know how we talked about staking a claim, and like, about like staking a claim and wanting to build on that, by the end of the week, something is going to feel like a stab in the back, but it's not a stab in the back. It just looks that way from the outside. The root of this is whatever's happening with this Ten of Swords is what's going to give you the Ten of Cups, and the High Priestess knows it. The High Priestess knows it. You're going to have to go through some kind of perceived loss, quote unquote, big air quotes. And remember, there's no blood here, guys. The other thing I kind of get is that with it being swords, you know what? This is the craziest interpretation I've ever had of the Ten of Swords. I think that maybe you have to play dead. That's what I'm hearing. Oh my God, guys. It's almost like from the outside and in the public view, maybe on social media, maybe to everyone else, you have to look like you just laid down and got stabbed, or you're going to have to play dead, or you're going to have to take the stabs. And again, the other thing I get is that maybe people are pick a little, talk a littling, you know, where it looks like you just rolled over, like you're pushing up daisies, right? But that owl knows better. The owl knows that, yeah, this, what you think 'em is not what you think 'em is. Underneath it, it's going to be this. In order to get here, this is what you see, but the wheels are turning for this. We have to go through this in order to get here. And it's going to take strength. The other thing I get is that maybe you do have to deal with some kind of, maybe you do have a lot of people kind of stabbing you. The other thing is that you might have to put up with a lot of talk, a lot of words. Someone trying to cut you down, or you know what, this other thing is that the Ten of Swords is people trying to pin you down with opinions, with words, with quotes. And it's almost like, yeah, you can pin me down all you want. I'm not pinned to the ground. I'm staking my claim. This is going to be mine, you know? This is probably the nicest interpretation. On the outside, it looks like defeat, but it's not. It's not defeat. You have to go through whatever this is. You have to endure people trying to pin you down. You're going to have to be strong. The other thing is I get, and you know, it's funny, last week, I always pick a pile with you, and I do something about I'm a Libra, so when I like picking the second pile. I don't always pick the second pile, but something about the two, you know, the two scales, the balancing, the choices, you know, the decision making. I always like pile 2 because of that. But I did pick pile 2 last week, and it was amazing how at the end of the week, it was like the Knight of Swords, and I talked about like wanting to pop off out at the mouth. And let me just tell you guys, I have been biting my tongue until it bleeds this week. Like I've had moments of being so verbally restless, and I'm very glad that I stopped myself. I'm very glad that I stopped myself, because there were a few times that I really either wanted to post something or say something that I really would have regretted later. That was really not appropriate. I was just feeling verbally out of sorts, and that happens. And you know, if you watch the How to Tarot on the Knight of Swords, I was really proud of that video, because it really did sum it up. You know, the Knight is not a king. He's not a mature energy. He thinks he knows what he's talking about, and he's ready to pop off at the mouth about it. That has been my energy, and the week isn't even finished yet. But actually, I'm looking forward. If I pick this deck, I'll be looking forward to getting back into some Three of Pentacles energy. But yeah, that takes a lot of strength. It takes a lot of strength. But here, I definitely see, with these being 2 10s and the High Priestess, I don't think you're going to be in Knight energy by the end of the week. I think you're going to be in very mature energy. And again, you see how this guy is not even moving. He's just like, sure, fine. Put another fork in me. What you think 'em is not what you think 'em is. What you see here is not the situation. What's really going on below the surface is this. And I do think that, you know what I'm hearing is turn the other cheek, but it's more than just turn the other cheek. I think that you might have to let people believe that you're, again, I'm hearing play dead. You might have to play dead, or you might have to pretend like someone else got away with murder. But by doing that, you're showing the maturity to actually get what you need to do done. It's grace under pressure. There's so much nature in this here too, guys. There's so many flowers. There's a lot of flowers. So, and this, it's funny, the Ten of Swords looks like such a desolate card, but you are not eradicated. That's the other thing I get, is that I think somehow people think that they took you, that you need to give off the perception that someone took you out, or that you're down, you're out, TKO, total knockout. You're not knocked out. You're recouping, and you see the higher purpose of this. It's better for you to play dead than it is to stand back up and try to fight at this point. You're going to have to reserve your strength. The other thing is that the lion really does talk about ego, and there's nothing more, there's nothing more, I want to say emasculating, but that's if you're a guy. There's nothing more humiliating than this. That's an affront to your ego. I feel like by the end of the week you're going to be very mature, where you're putting your ego aside, which is great, because this last weekend I've been wanting to pop off at the mouth. I haven't been putting my ego aside. I've really wanted to just tell people what I think in 12 different ways. But by the end of this week, you're in gosh, guys, can I be you when I grow up? You're in such spiritual, high vibe energy. Like, you understand the purpose of this. Don't let your ego get the best of you. Play dead. There's pick your battles is kind of what I'm hearing. But this image here, you are not there, and there's a purpose for this. And you might need to have the outside world believe that you're out for the count, and you're really not. So, but that might be the perception that you have to give off, and that does, you have to rein in your ego with that, because you're picking, there's a higher purpose to this. In order to get this beautiful Ten of Cups, you have to pretend like you're doing the Ten of Swords. And then you got Pink Rose, which says grace and sweetness. The pursuit of perfection then is the pursuit of sweetness and light. And gosh, guys, I'm seeing sweetness and light in so many of these cards. The other thing I kind of get is, like, I'm getting greater good. I'm kind of getting, like, greater good. Maybe you go through a few smaller, the other thing I get is that maybe by letting people stab you, you're serving some purpose higher than yourself, or you're enabling, you're running interference, so to speak. But wow, guys, yeah, you got 2 10s. And you have an ace in the middle of the week. 9 of Swords. Yeah, I think you're going to be really worried. The other thing is that, I do feel like this might be a lot of a talk too, like a lot of opinions. Just again, just kind of taking jabs from everyone, but. This is beautiful energy, though, guys. This is grace. This is grace under pressure. And I do think that you have allies. You have allies in really high places, by the way. And it could be a mother, it could be a father, but you have folks who are protecting you. And it's amazing, guys. You look at these trees in the background. You have folks who want to give you the same blessings that they have, and I honestly feel like these folks see in you the struggles that they've gone through, and they want to help. I don't think that they can fight the battle for you, but I think they can guide you, and they can protect you in some ways. Like, they can give you some kind of, like, wow, that was really amazing. And those are 2, not even court cards. You got 1 court card, and you got the freaking Empress. You have a woman in power who's very nurturing, who's going to be helping you or giving you some kind of really, really sage advice in the middle of the week. But the Empress always, she nurtures. She has a shield. She just does it in a very peaceful way. All right, guys. So last but not least, we've got the third deck, deck 3, the Starseeker Tarot by the Van Mystic. These are awesome cards. They're such good card stock. They're kind of thick. I have to shuffle them especially. Okay, so deck number 3. We'll move our pumpkin aside. What is your energy for the week, deck number 3? Okay, do not freak out. You are fine. Okay, middle of the week, please. End of the week. Oh, that's great energy, guys. Oh, got a lot of swords. Few cups, but a lot of swords. The Five of Wands is trying to pop out too. There's been, over the last couple weeks with all 3 piles, there's been a little bit of conflict. We've been getting kind of a battle theme. But, okay, let's go ahead and get your oracle card. Okay, I'm just going to shuffle on that. Krabby-Yoka. Okay, we're going to stick with that one there. All right. So beginning of the week, and I don't want you to freak out. We've had some heavy cards in each of the piles, but the top card we have is we've got the 8 of Cups. And you see how there's cups on each of the steps, and you see this person walking through a door, right? Underneath the 8 of Cups, we've got the 7 of Swords and Death. And underneath that, we've got the Queen of Swords. So the way that I read this first and foremost is that you might have someone who is walking away from you. This person might have been very verbally cutting. This person might have been a little deceptive to you. The other thing that I get is that with this card, you kind of see the person is hiding in a tree trunk. So I get the sense that this deception is not a surprise to you. Death is a very slow-moving card. It's not a fast-moving card. So I do get the sense that maybe you are finally moving. The 2 ways I kind of read this is that maybe you are letting go of a relationship with someone who's a little bit verbally abusive, and I hate to say it that way, but someone who's just a woman or a person that's a kind of very cerebral, very mental, kind of cutting with her words, but she's not terribly warm, right? Like, you don't feel very nurtured by this person. I actually get the sense like you feel like you have to, I get the sense like you have to hide who you really are from this person. You notice how in all of these cards the person is wearing cloaks, and even Death is wearing a cloak. It's almost like you have to conceal, who you are from this person, and you're finally just walking away. Like, you're finally making the steps towards sunlight, right? You're in dream interpretation, when you walk through a door, you're closing the door behind you, right? So you could be leaving someone that you kind of think is a little bit, now the Queen of Swords isn't all bad. Sometimes she can be, she can be nurturing in an intellectual way. But here I really get the sense like, this could be someone who was a little too cold, like a little too, again, cerebral, a little too in their head. They didn't put enough heart into your relationship. So, you feel like you can't really be yourself around this person without them criticizing you. That's the other thing I'm kind of getting, criticism. So you're naturally, by the over the weekend and by the beginning of the week, you're really letting this relationship kind of fall away. Like you're moving away from it. And we've got a 7 to the 8, the 7 of Swords to the 8 of Cups. That really talks about you you taking what you believe and who you are and moving away from this energy. You're letting it be done, right? Now, one other way I can read it is maybe you're in the Queen of Swords energy. Maybe you've had to set some really strict boundaries with someone because someone was being deceitful or being evasive or just, avoiding. Someone was not being truthful with you, and you're cutting it off. You're just, you're cutting it off. You're like, no way. You're not, you're not going to deceive me. You're not going to sneak around. And you're walking away from that energy. You're cutting, you're letting it go. But it is kind of the same scenario where I feel like death is a slow moving card, and I think that maybe who it was is that maybe you really gave this person quite a few chances to come clean or to be honest with you, and they just didn't. So you're finally letting that go. You're letting the deception go, and you're moving away from that, because the 8 of Cups does talk about walking away from something that you emotionally invested in. Now, by the middle of the week, you go from the 8 of Cups, and you've got 2 sevens here too. You're going into the 7 of Cups energy, and this is a really beautiful card. You might feel a little bit lost, and if you get a chance to check out the 7 of Cups How to Tarot here on my channel, it really does give you a lot more nuance into the card. But she's in the dark woods, and it really does kind of look like the Moon card, right? There's a lot of fear, when you start walking away from a situation like this, it can leave you feeling really directionless. It can make you feel lost. And each one of those cups has different opportunities in it. Some opportunities are a little too good to be true. You see there's one glowing cup, but then there's another cup, there's a snake around it, and she's got her hand on her face like, which cup do I choose? So by the middle of the week, I feel like you do feel a little lost. You might feel a little confused. The other thing is that I would not make any decisions, because I think you really have just walked away from a situation. You see how dark these cards look? I don't think you know what I keep hearing, you're not out of the woods. By the middle of the week, you're not out of the woods yet. The other thing I get is that you might still be feeling a whole lot. The Queen of Swords does have a heart. She's not a heartless person, but if you look closely, you see she has kind of a scar on her cheek. She's been betrayed before. She's gone through it before, and she has no tolerance for any BS. And it does give her a reputation of being a bitter woman, but that's the thing, is that if you're not putting up with any crap, come at, I'm hearing step up or step off. Like, don't come at me with any deception or any lies or manipulation or trying to juggle me or trying to, don't give me no lines and keep your hands to yourself, kind of like, girl please, boy please, you've got boundaries. But by the middle of the week, you do feel a little bit lost. And what I'm kind of getting here is just when you walk away from someone, it does leave you kind of feeling in a blur, like in a daze, right? The other thing is that you want to start, and I know this is a real Queen of Swords thing, she wants to just keep walking. She's a straight shooter, right? She doesn't like to be adrift in her emotions. If she has to make a decision, she likes to make that decision, let it be, and she wants to go, she wants to be ready to go towards the decision that she chose, right? She wants to go, she doesn't want to be confused or lost or murky. She wants to know her path and start walking it. But I get the sense like in the middle of the week, it's almost like you're frustrated because you're not quite out of the woods yet. You still feel a little emotionally stirred up. You wish that you didn't feel emotionally stirred up, but you do. And it's like, okay, why can't I just pick a damn cup and go? But it's really not good to just pick a damn cup when you're feeling, because you'll end up making the wrong choice. And I don't mean to say that because the Queen of Swords is like Libra energy. She always makes a balanced decision. But when you've had all these deep kind of emotions, you might be coming off the heels, just coming right off the heels of someone doing something kind of shady, and you having to walk away from that. You're going to be emotionally compromised. Um, you know, it's funny. I think of Star Trek. You know how when Spock, when if you've ever seen the Star Trek movies, when his planet gets blown up, and he's talking to Spock. The Leonard Nimoy and Spock, and Chris Pine is talking to Leonard Nimoy, and he's like, "I don't think you felt anything." He goes, "My planet just got blew up. I was compromised." So it's kind of like no matter what I show you on the outside, my world's been shaken up. I do feel. It's just, I try, and I don't even think you're trying to push down. It's just, you don't, when you make a decision, you make it. When you're ready to move on, you're ready to move on. I've made this decision. I've walked away. What do I do next? You don't like sitting in the laurels. You don't like sitting in the swamp, sitting in the shit. You want to pick a cup and start going in the new direction. But middle of the week, you are going to be more shaken than you realize. You're going to be Spock, right? On the outside, all logic. On the inside, you're going to be like, oh my God. The other thing I get is that people do not feel. If they did a mind meld with you, they'd be like, oh my God. And you're like, yeah, I know. Right? Yeah. Inside, I'm all shook, sloshing around in there. But also be patient with yourself. Try not to be so hard. It took a lot of strength to get through this, but it's okay to feel a little lost. Just, don't jump. You don't have to jump to make a quick decision. But this is really beautiful, guys, is that by the end of the week you got the Ace of Swords, which talks about epiphany and clarity, and you got the and then underneath you got the Six of Swords. So you really, what you might be doing is you might be taking a step back, but by taking a step back or kind of slowing down a little bit, it's going to give you a whole lot of perspective. The fog will clear, the sun will come out, and you'll know what direction to go. And the cool thing is that you'll get back into that sword's energy that you feel comfortable in. Like, you won't feel so uncertain and murky and sloshy and emotional. You're gonna be in your element. You see how synchronized this looks? And then you might be going with someone else who might have a child, but you're going to be heading towards that door again. Honestly, guys, you got two doors here. So the other thing I get is that there was one big door that you had to go through, and then you know what it is you'll start. It's almost like you walk through the first door, and it's like, okay, what's next? And you kind of go into a dark woods, and then if you go slow, even though it's a little uncomfortable, you'll come across the next door, right? The clarity will come to you, and I do get the sense that it'll be kind of towards the end of the week. Like, you'll feel better, but it is going to be slow and steady. The other thing I get is with these mountains here, it's like, you're going to have, in the middle of the week, you're going to have a few days where you just feel a little out of it, just a little directionless is what I'm hearing. And it is advised that you just kind of lean back. It's not going to be comfortable because you're going to be all up in your feels, and you'd rather keep it in your head. You'd rather keep it intellectual and rational. But God knows emotions are not rational. I wish they were. But your oracle card, you got tuberose, and tuberose, you got dangerous pleasure. The secret of reaping the greatest fruitfulness and the greatest enjoyment from life is to live dangerously. Now, I do kind of get that with like the Seven of Cups, but I don't think living dangerously means picking the wrong cup, or going with something on a whim or listening to that snake. I don't think you should listen to that snake. You know? The other thing I kind of get is because these are two sevens and these are both kind of, the snake is deceptive. One of your options might be to go back to this person that, or go back to this situation that was kind of being deceptive. But it's an enticing option because they're like, oh, I'll change, or no, we'll be better, we'll work it out. And you're just kind of like, okay, I'm not listening to the snake. Maybe you'll be tempted to listen to the snake and live dangerously. But the other thing that I get with the Six of Swords and the Ace of Swords, that is also about living your truth, and that is living dangerously. Making a decision and sticking to it. There's an edge to that. And when I hear living dangerously, I also notice the fact that she's got both hands on that sword. She doesn't even have it lifted. She knows how to use that sword. Don't come at me false. So the other thing I kind of get from that is that you might not have a clear-cut direction. You'll start to see it's going to kind of be one foot in front of the other for a while. But that can be exciting in its own way. It might feel like really uncomfortable. A lot of people don't like change. Change is uncomfortable, of course. But it is kind of exciting, and it can feel like you're living dangerously. Like, okay, well, what am I going to do next? What's my next step going to be? It's just one foot in front of the other, baby. Just one foot, one step at a time. So, the greatest enjoyment from life is to live dangerously. And that's on your terms. Your terms. Don't, what you want to do. But there might be some kind of clarity that comes by the end of the week. The other thing, and I know this sounds kind of funny, you might see some kind of activity that inspires you. And I know that sounds funny. I'll tell you, there's been times in my life where I felt really just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what direction to go. And we talked about that actually in the How to Tarot for the Seven of Cups. There are times in life where it's a lull time. You don't have to be going Mach 5 with your hair on fire with every endeavor in your life. There's a purpose to being still. There's a purpose to being lost. I honestly believe sometimes the universe will put you in a situation to make you lost. You lose yourself to find yourself, I guess. I know that sounds crazy, but and it's amazing how it's like Alice in Wonderland, like falling down the rabbit hole. You get a little bit lost and you're in a strange place, and you really just you want to get back on the beaten path, but being off the beaten path exposes you to new things and might expose you to the thing that you need to follow. And that's what I'm kind of getting with this Ace of Swords, is maybe you do got to get a little bit lost in order to see see where to go next. The other thing is you got these mountains in the background. And the amazing thing is that, mountains are not beaten paths. You have to scale them. But then the Six of Swords is this flat kind of marble bridge that's very direct, right? Yeah. You know what, guys? Maybe you do go for like a mountain walk, or I get the sense like you're going to see something. You're going to feel kind of lost, and you're going to see something by being lost where you are, where you're at. There might be a purpose why you're lost where you're at. There's something you need to see. And what you see is going to give you that inspiration on how to transition into to where you're going. And it's going to feel a little exciting. Again, it's going to feel a little bit, like living dangerously, right? I think you might be throwing caution to the wind because this isn't perfectly planned out. You might be, again, one foot in front of the other. But that's really beautiful energy, guys, and I think you're going to feel much better. You're going to feel like yourself, and you're going to feel much clearer, and like you know how to get to, you know, how to continue forward by the end of the week. And you might be doing it with someone else. The other thing that I get is that maybe you are getting some inspiration from someone younger. Maybe you have a child or niece, a nephew, you know, the child of a friend or something. I am sensing like millennial, like maybe a young adult child kind of introduces you to something, and that's what your inspiration is. But all right, guys, so that was exciting, and it's going to be a good week. I definitely, please don't be, you know, the first two piles, don't be scared by any cards. There are no bad cards in tarot. And I think all three piles, that's really exciting. There's a lot of change in the air, you know. But I wish everyone a wonderful week, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.